Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Hunger Games Reap Along Book Club. Don't laugh. We have our second book that we have read together, obviously, Catching Fire. We all reread it. We love Brittany.
It's just holding nothing.
Yeah,
my copy's packed away. Let me get my audiobook version up. Hold on.
Yes, we got the annotations. I reread this one physically this time, so we did re-annotate it. Yay! We got the audiobook.
We got some variation going on here.
Yeah, variation.
So you listened to the audiobook. I did physical, and what did you do, Brittany? Physical?
Physical.
Yeah, okay, I really wanted to do physical.
Yeah, it's like an experience, but also the audiobooks are great.
I've never listened to them. I've only listened to Ballad.
Really?
I'm mixed about it. My partner came in while I was listening to it, and he's like, "What is this?" And he kind of was like, "Why didn't any of the actors do the audiobook?" And I said, "I don't know."
I mean,
opportunity.
You would think it was before the time of the movies. Yeah. So
but sometimes they redo them. I don't know if The Samurai Turned Pretty ever had audiobooks before, but they did
before. They did before, and then they redid them, which I thought was a good idea.
Yeah,
but anyway,
that would be nice. They're not going to do it now, though. They got bigger and better things to do, but that would literally be amazing. And that just reminds me, we were supposed to get that announcement today. It's moved to Monday on who is reading the new one. And I think we have all said we want it to be Woody Harrelson, which I feel like is shooting so high. Like, would he actually do that? Probably not.
I feel like it'd be weird, though, because, like, it's a young Haymitch, but with, like, his old voice. I think it'd be a little odd. It'd be cool, but I think it'd be a little...
Probably. And then I saw Kit said, make it a young actor, which... We did find out today they're filming in July, I think. So maybe they know who it is. I don't know.
Maybe they know their audience is just the book fans, and that's how they're going to announce it.
That'd be a cool way to announce it.
That's what I'm saying.
It would. So we will find out Monday. We'll see if I make a video on it. I don't know, because it said there'd be a new snippet. So if that's not a lie, like it'd be a new reading of a new snippet. So... The last one was very upsetting and painful because
I didn't even read it.
Yeah, I didn't want to Peyton's the only one who read it.
Oh my god. Well, the thing is, I put out a video and then the smarter people than me really, really analyzed it. And there's even crazier shit. So I don't know if I want to tell y'all if you haven't read it and you want to wait. But it just connects to the lineages of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. There's just some theories about who people are related to. And honestly, I feel they might be valid. So I won't say nothing though, because y'all are living in mystery.
All I know is that his birthday's on Reaping Day. And I loved all the tweets being like, no wonder he's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Literally though. Literally.
I think I read the first couple of lines and then I was like, I think I'll wait until the
Yeah, that was me too.
I did that with the new snippet from the new Shatter Me book as well. I read a couple of lines and I was like, no, I don't want to read this yet.
I didn't even try it.
From what I read, it was good. I don't know if it was the opening of the book or just a random chapter, but it had Warner in it, and I was like, "Hi, Warner, my love."
Okay, I'm here for Warner. I'm just tripped up by young James being the main character, and he's gonna be a romantic lead probably, and that's so
very unexpected.
It's so cringe to me because I just think of him as a 10-year-old boy.
But you know what? They did the same thing with Legend, continuing that with another book with the younger brother as the main character, and I really liked that book. So I've got some faith. I'm excited.
Okay, I believe in her.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with this, but
yeah, sorry. So it's been a while since we've reread this. I think I didn't reread it for 4 or 5 years now, 2020. So it's been a bit. So is there anything that really you forgot? And you're just whoa, I know you forgot something, Kit, that I'm wild over. That was
okay. So I texted Brittany and Peyton because I was listening to the audiobook, and I texted, I forgot Cinna died.
That's crazy.
I get that.
No, it's just that, like, the way that, like, you know how you, like, mix the movie in with the book? It was just that they, like, Suzanne Collins is talking about Cinna preparing her to go to the aircraft, and then he survived that, and I was like, wait a minute. Wait, what? Oh, I guess he's still alive. So I was like, oh, I guess. And then it happened later. But yeah, I just was like, oh no, Cinna.
That's like a huge moment for
I
the whole series in the movies and everything. Like, it's unforgettable.
I was just like, you know, it's you know what? It made the moment even harder because I was like, oh damn.
I know.
That's wild.
And there was that line about how, like, he would put his emotions into his fashion so it didn't hurt anyone else. Like, she did that on purpose. And that's what he did. He took one for the team. So, so sick.
Yeah, and he's like kind of like the only one that Katniss is kind of honest with throughout like the first two books. She's like she's the only, besides like Madge, I think she and Gale, he's the only one that I kind of consider like a friend. So I'm like,
I know. It is super depressing. Don't.
I know. Oh.
Okay, well, I think something that probably a lot of people forget about because it's not in the movie is the whole Bonnie and Twill District 13 arc, which I feel like is a super interesting little tidbit because I don't know, because it comes out of nowhere in the movies. We barely ever like mention that District 13 was even a thing. So at the end, when that really dramatic scene when he's like, "There's no District 12." Like, we're in 13, but this is like more of a, I don't know, it makes sense. And it's also chilling because why have they not helped us this whole time? Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a lot of Katniss's thoughts a lot of the time, and which is interesting with Catching Fire specifically because it's foreshadowing, but she's very much saying, oh, District 13 is almost as bad as the Capitol if it's real because they're not helping us. And she has a lot of lines of that, and I was like, damn. I was like, wow.
There's some foreshadowing. I know, because I mean, nuclear development, like, y'all had some crazy big weapons that could have been used. Not saying we support nuclear war, but like, shit was going bad for so long. Like, something could have happened.
Yeah.
At least a threat of something.
And then also the thing with what are their names again? The two people from District 8, Bonnie and Twill. Like that's also the first kind of like instance, because at least in the films, she's just like, people are telling her there are uprisings, and like she doesn't really like try to go out and find out information about it. She's just like, oh, I stumbled upon this information all by myself. But like they like kind of bring up District 13 for her to start thinking about it. And then also it kind of brings like kind of like a whole circle around like the districts kind of all being like, we should all uprise. And I think it's really interesting because it's the same thing with District 11, where the two victors from there that Haymitch is kind of friends with, like Katniss's first word to the woman was like, are the families okay? And it kind of brings a bond. So
I love Cedar. I feel bad for him.
I love Cedar.
What I also never understood is Haymitch like set up the alliances. Like, why did we not get Chaff and Cedar like set up? Because like Chaff was like alone the whole freaking time in the arena. Like, I think Cedar died first day.
She died pretty early on.
Yeah. So like he was just alone, and I can't remember. I think in Mockingjay we find out who killed who. I think from my memory that Peeta killed Brutus and Brutus killed Chaff, but I also think maybe Peeta killed Chaff. I cannot remember. Like for the life of me. Let me Google it actually. Like seriously, I just remember Peeta killed somebody and I don't know, he doesn't really do that a lot. Like just one-on-one, like people, like things just happen and it's not like directly his fault. But that, let me find out.
I thought there's. Oh no, he doesn't kill him in the beginning. There was like someone. I thought there was other.
I'm gonna find this out. Okay.
Hello, Suzanne Collins. Can we?
Okay,
backtrack?
so I was right. So Brutus killed Chaff, and then I think who killed Brutus? I think it was Peeta. I don't know why this matters to me. It just does. I need to know. Okay, Peeta kills Brutus.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's crazy because people view him as such a weakling, and Brutus was literally like the craziest bitch in there. But like, not to be rude to him, but I don't know, something that makes me sick. Dang, I need a plug on my computer. Hey, Keaton, if you're watching, can you go get my computer charger? It's in the room in my brown bag. But what was I about to say? Oh, this is like jumping ahead to Mockingjay, but so few tributes like lived, and one of them is Inobaria, and that makes me so sick because she was one of the bitches that was ready to murder everybody. So I'm like, of all the people to live, not trying to say she doesn't deserve life, but like we could add a couple other people, but whatever. Okay.
Oh wait, sorry. Speaking of other tributes with like the teeth, like because isn't she the one that has like the teeth or something?
Yeah.
Something else I forgot about. I'm sorry. Who's Cedar's? I forget what his name. We were just talking about him. Chaff. He has like one arm.
Yeah.
And they never. It's not. Hunger Games movies really don't like disabled people, but
well, they show her grab his stump during the like on the TV with her hands, but that's the only. Okay. We didn't see her grab the stump. That's it.
I haven't rewatched the movies yet.
Yeah, I didn't get to that part when I was rewatching it. But I really liked that like Katniss makes a thing where she says he could have gotten a hand like Peeta's leg, but he didn't. Yeah. Which I'm like, that is interesting.
Because he easily probably could have had like a functioning robotic something, but did not want it, which kind of reminds me, I wrote something down about Thresh. We find out, I don't think it was ever directly mentioned in the first one, how the careers like specifically wanted him to be a part of their group, and he was like strong enough to be like, no. And then his little grandma in the audience was smiling about that. I was like, but like the District 11 people are just so strong, and it makes me so sad. I got so many notes. So stupid. Okay. I was specifically trying to pay attention to anything about Haymitch, obviously, because this book, more than any of them, really gives us a lot of interesting details that I'm convinced will come into play because she does that. Like, she's so smart. So there's a couple references, I don't know if y'all caught them, about how he is afraid of the dark. And I just want to know, like, what happened to him in the arena that, I mean, he doesn't go to sleep at night. Like, he sleeps during the daytime. So, and he sleeps with a knife in his hand always, too. So I'm just
Yeah, that was the thing that got me. I forget what it was, but I think it was, something similar to that. Peeta talks about how he'd rather wake up with a paintbrush in his hand than a knife, kind of like Haymitch. And it's like, oh. But yeah, Haymitch, dude, it's brutal.
been through
I'm
something.
not ready for his book.
I'm not ready either.
I know. Like, honestly, his history feels erased because no one really knows about his games. Like, no one really talks about it in 12, which is strange to be like the only winner that people really talk about or know about. And he appears every year. Like, what the freak happened? Because they just said that whatever we do know is not real or what it seems. So I'm just like, what is going on?
Yeah, because Cat is his. I'm trying to remember because Katniss makes a comment where there's someone's year that her father died and she didn't pay attention. Oh, that's Finnick. Never mind. But because Haymitch is 25 years,
Yeah, she was not born
alive. But like I know that she says something about like at the end of it, the force field like it went to black or something, so they didn't even know what happened in the districts. So like that footage that they have that they watch is like the only one that like shows what happened.
Yeah.
And she kind of realizes like, oh shit, he kind of did the same thing I did. No wonder he was telling me all this like stuff in the end of yep.
Yeah. And like honestly, what she did was worse. So and they killed his whole family within 2 weeks. Which like what happened within that 2 weeks between him and President Snow? Like they had to have spoken at some point. Like
yeah, and what was
just do that?
And where do his path and Katniss's path diverge where her family is okay and his family and his girlfriend are not? So
yeah. I don't know. It's gonna go down. That's for sure.
It's funny because I told you guys, but I was reading my annotated copy, right? And there was the part where we hear about Haymitch's game, and I think the last time I read these books was before Ballad. So it's like all about the Ballad hype, right? And at the end of the chapter, I was like, I don't know why people wanted the Ballad to be about Haymitch. Like we just heard his entire games. Like that would be so boring, so repetitive. I do not feel that way. That comment did not grow. I am so excited for this book.
I feel like we were just trying to make ourselves feel better because no one really wanted it to be about Snow.
Yeah.
So we're like, everybody was like, it's going to be Finnick, it's going to be Joanna, it'll be Haymitch. And then no one guessed it was Snow. So we were like, oh, well, we wouldn't have wanted that anyway.
Yeah, we're trying to make ourselves feel better. I thought that was so funny. I'm like, that comment could not have aged worse.
I will say we got more information than we got about everyone else's, but to know that it's about propaganda and like it's not what we think it is.
Yeah.
Like
it'll be interesting to see how it differs.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
You say it. you say what you have to say.
I was saying that it'll be interesting to see how it differs from like what Katniss sees and like what was like recorded to like his actual lived experience of it all.
Because it's like the edited version.
Yeah. Because like what we read of Katniss's story, I'm sure is not exactly what people in the capital or like in the districts were seeing. Right. So like, the perception there and the way that they edit it. It's reality TV, right?
Yeah.
What actually happens in reality is not what we're watching on the screen. So I think that would be so interesting to like refer back to this book, which I think we should definitely do when we do the Sunrise live shows, like refer back to that part and see like if anything is like super glaringly different than what we learned about in this book.
Yeah, because I mean I'm sure the edited footage of Katniss and Peeta is so different than like the experience that we got. But we only really see their version.
I think they make comments about it. Yeah, where Katniss is like, there's no way they're showing this right now. Like they're cutting to something else. Like there's no way they would let this air.
Yeah. And then also when they're crowned as victors, they do like a recap and they show how it's edited and stuff. And Katniss is like, thank God this person edited me and Peeta's love story to further endorse that like this was for love, not rebellion. So I think that's going to be so interesting. Also, there's like an avalanche or something that kills a bunch of people in Haymitch's games, and I'm kind of excited to see what happens.
And there's like a volcano.
That's what it was, a volcano. Yeah.
So many kids. I don't know if we found out how many days it was, but I mean, that's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Period of time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. My dad did not like the first Hunger Games. He's not gonna like this new movie if it's double the kids.
Yeah. I mean, the movie, when it starts and it's just like the ringing in the ears or like the weird sound, it is chilling. And then they're just cutting down the kids like it's nothing. I hate to watch it. Like it's upsetting, but we gotta do what we gotta do to read the story. Okay, I got so many notes.
Wait, speaking of Haymitch's Hunger Games, how do you guys think they're gonna adapt the Mockingjay bin in the film since there's no Madge?
I know. Oh my god.
That's
it bothers me so bad. Because, like, it was Greasy Say in the movie that just had it.
Mm-hmm.
So they still could do it, like, maybe it just got lost in time and it was just, they were selling it. I feel like there's a way that they could write around it, but Madge and Katniss's friendship, like, is so beautiful in this book, and it's, like, a very sad, like, miss that was never a thing. But I feel like because they didn't have her in the first one, they didn't care to do anything for it.
Because it's really sad that Katniss doesn't really have, like I said, like, the only other, like, friend she has is Madge. Like, she's, like, and then also in addition, Madge's, was it her aunt got put into the Hunger Games, and then it seems like Katniss's mom was kind of supporting her mom through all of this, and that's why she comes in the snow to help Gale. It's just like, that's all gonna be missed. Like,
no, it's so sad. That's why you gotta read the books. That just made me think, because there was like Katniss talking about how she wanted to come back and just feel like anything was normal. So when Gale was not acting normal, it was really upsetting for her. And he makes me so mad because she said, like, on a couple occurrences, like, I don't have any room for, like, feelings. Like, all I feel is fear. So why are you asking for me to understand what our relationship is right now? Like, I just need a friend. And he was a selfish bitch.
Like the only selfless thing that he does is, like, taking care of her family.
I know, and we respect
but
that.
Even is that selfless?
I know. Like, is he doing this
like
for all? It makes me mad because it's like you could have had her all these years ago, and then suddenly you feel so pressed because someone else dared to notice that she's pretty or whatever. Like, because I don't know, she describes him as like a looker in the town, like all the girls were after him, and suddenly his little friend gets attention and he's mad. Like, no. Like, no.
So
it's like, Gale, please stop. And also, I love that Katniss, she gets made fun of for just not finding anyone attractive, and I love that for her because they make fun of her for being quote unquote pure, and she's just like,
I know.
She's like, hey, no, like, y'all, I just don't get that way, and I was like, Arrow Ace Queen, good for you.
But also, it's just like she just needed to survive. Like, that's just not in your head.
Yeah.
And then after the games, he's upset with what she did in the games to survive. Like, I low-key feel like he would have rather Peeta to die than have that romance thing happen, which I think is terrible.
Yeah.
Because obviously the romance thing wasn't real. Like when they got back, they weren't in love. Well, Katniss wasn't in love. So
Or she didn't know how to define those feelings. So yeah.
and Peeta was able to put it aside and asked to be her friend. So he was the friend who was able to do that.
Yeah, because he apologizes because at the end of Hunger Games, he's like, I can't believe you lied to me about your feelings. And then, like, the first time that he's in Catching Fire, he's like, hey, I'm really sorry about that. Like, obviously, we came from a certain situation. Gale has never apologized in his life. No, not
I don't
at
think
all.
he even knows what that word is.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's
Accountability?
I know. It's such a good point because I feel like it's normal that Peeta was upset at first, but he was able to come around and realize the reality of the situation and like she saved them. And then in the alternative, Gale, he never cared. Even in Mockingjay, I feel like I saw someone post about he was starting to get jealous of her and Finnick like hanging out when actually they were just sitting together because they were both traumatized and they understood each other. And it's like
he's just jealous of any man that walks and talks around her.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, is he jealous of the cat when the cat starts paying attention to her?
Like, honestly,
Wouldn't put it past him. Is he jealous of Haymitch?
I know.
Is he jealous of presidents though? Because he's talking to her.
Ew.
Like, come on.
No,
I'm jealous of Cinna.
It's just like, it's like, Gale, really? I was going to say something about Gale, and then I forgot.
Sorry.
So that's probably for the best.
We should just forget him.
He doesn't exist.
So we should take, what's the thing? Well, I hate to make a joke about Peeta's stuff in Mockingjay, but we just need to get some Tracker Jacker, put it in, and just forget about Gale.
Oh my gosh. But honestly, he just gets worse. I think the only good thing he says in this book was actually there's two. I'll give him two. He's like, you've given them an opportunity to fight. Like he does help her realize that this is a chance and an opportunity. And then the other good thing he said was he acknowledged when they were training and Gale like helped a little bit. He's like, I wish Peeta wasn't so hard to hate.
Yeah,
finally like, he's actually a good person. So
yeah.
but still, why did it take that much for you to say that? We all knew he was good.
Yeah, and then also in addition, I think it's Gale clearly doesn't understand like that she went through this, and the reason why she's connecting with a lot of these people is because they're the only ones who kind of understand what she's going through. And Gale's like, you don't talk to me anymore, you don't have feelings for me. And she's like, because you don't get it and you don't want to get it.
Literally, like they have PTSD, which is a great thing to talk about, how they explore multiple mental health things with Katniss's mother being depressed. Like she finally comes to terms with what happened to her mother, and it wasn't just that her mom didn't care. Like there was a good line about how some people just aren't equipped to handle such a tragedy, and like it just tears you down. So it's nice to see her understand her mother a little bit better. Which, can I find out her freaking name? Like, can Sunrise on the Reaping? I just want to know Katniss's mother's name. Like, this just makes me sick.
We don't know her name.
We don't know her name. Her name is never mentioned.
If you Google it, it won't tell you. Have you tried?
Let me do it. I swear to God, it's never been mentioned unless Suzanne let us know.
Because surely Suzanne wouldn't just let that like slide. Peeta's parents have names, don't they?
No, it's like the baker. Like they
the baker and his awful wife.
So
like,
just Gale's mom has a name.
It says
Yeah,
Katniss's mom's name is never explicitly stated. She is only referred to as Mrs. Everdeen.
Honey, Suzanne, how can you let that slide?
And then under here, I don't know who is saying this, there's this thing that says Kareen Everdeen. Where's the source? Where did we get this? Because I feel like we pulled it out of our butthole. Oh, thank you. Do you want to say hi? You don't want to say hi? He read the book. He's a part of the book club.
Oh, hi, Katie.
Hi. I love your shirt. Hello.
Star Wars. Yeah. Do you have anything to say about this book? He's been struggling to collect his thoughts, but he did. Do you have a favorite character? Come on.
Joanna.
Yeah.
She was not only naked in the elevator, she was naked in the training area as well. Why was she naked while wrestling? Like, what?
She's just proud.
She's awesome.
No shame.
No shame. She makes me laugh because really, are you leaving?
Yeah.
Thank you, though. You're good. But she's the only one other than Haymitch that really will talk shit to Katniss and be like, "You're stupid."
I love her.
Like,
I respect her.
and because like she's obviously Katniss is the symbol of the rebellion, and I mean I think Finnick is questioning her a little bit too, but they come around pretty quickly. Joanna, no, she's like, "You're stupid. I don't know why I need to do this for you, but apparently you're the center of the rebellion," and she cares about that more.
Yeah, it's like there's like one line where Katniss is like, I'm actually thankful for Joanna's honesty because I feel like all these people are just like trying to please me, whereas Joanna's just telling me straight up I'm stupid or something like
I
that.
know. And I think they become roommates in Mockingjay. There was like that period, so their friendship is something. I enjoy them because they were both an issue for the District 13 people. Like nobody's messing with them. Like you do not tell them what to do. Oh my goodness. There's so much shit.
So much. Oh, the Avox thing with the guy, the peacekeeper, insane. I completely did not remember that.
I forgot about it too. Like the Avoxes are just completely ignored. They're in the background in the movies, but they don't really talk about how significant and terrifying that shit is. And all Darius did was tell that guy, like, maybe Gale's had enough, like, and
That's
they
all
got
he
his
said.
and threw him away like that. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, in the moment where they hold hands under the table, like, I wanted to cry. Like, it's so sad.
Suzanne's writing where she's like, it says like she's like we say like with our hands touching like all the words we need to say or something like that. And I was like,
she hits hard with literally just one sentence all the time. I don't know what we want to get into.
there's so much in this book. Let's be honest.
Around to like crazy.
Okay, I feel like a good thing to point out is in the movies, it got really quickly to the announcement of the quarter quill, and in the book, we get this huge period and like the training, watching everybody's games. I feel like that was so cool. Like Peeta was the personal trainer. Like he had everything figured out, and I don't know. I guess they can't include everything ever, but I just watching this movie, which is like my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies, it kind of is disappointing this time because I'm like, there's just so much shit that I really would have loved to see, especially, I guess we're getting Haymitch 2026. So whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, the more and more I read the Hunger Games books, the more and more I dislike the films. Not to say they're bad films, but like there's so many interesting concepts in these books that I feel like obviously you can't fully expand to like a movie, but like I would be fine with a television show. I would kind of be okay with that. Suzanne Collins knows how to write television. She did it for her job for years. It might have been for kids, but she still did it, so she can do it.
The history.
Like, what?
She has a history.
She does have a history. I also think it also adds to kind of like, I like the Hunger Games when it's talking a lot about like how the politics of Pan Am work. So that's why I was like in the beginning, I was like, wait, this is so interesting. Katniss is just talking shit about everything. And I feel like also in addition, it kind of gives you like a lull of like Katniss just being like dealing with all of her emotions and just going right into the announcement about like Brittany, I think it was you who's like, guys, that announced Katniss's reaction to the announcement. And I was like, yeah. And I think it's because of that buildup. So
Wait, that I don't know what I said.
oh, I think you said something around. You
I'm
said
just
something like,
But I'm sure it was right.
it was like something where you were like, guys, I'm crying like when Katniss finds out, or something like that about like the announcement or something. I forget, but it was something like that, and I was like, so real.
I'm sure it was really poignant.
I'm sure it was really poignant.
It's silly though. Like, it takes her a moment to understand it, and
It does.
honestly, I
It's
feel
not
like
an immediate thing.
that was President Snow's biggest mistake, in my opinion, because people cared about the victors. I feel like this was the perfect way to make everyone angry. Not only the districts, but also the capital people. Like, they cared about those people because they were safe and thought they were going to live forever. Well, not forever, but they weren't going to die in the Hunger Games. So, and if this is like a sporting event to them, like, that's their winner. Like, they don't want to just see them die. So I see his tactic of getting rid of them, but also he was kind of stupid for that. That was like the
Yeah.
perfect way to make anger fly the most.
Yeah, he's like, I can show them, and it kind of backfires in the end. Like,
What's your Snow impression?
that was a terrible. I'm trying to think of how I can do a Donald Sutherland impression. I don't know. I was gonna try to do Pride and Prejudice, but I can't do a British accent.
I have no idea how I would do it.
Miss Everdeen. Wait, what's the line he says in Katniss? Not in Katniss, in Catching Fire. He's like, Miss Everdeen. That sounds like Effie more. But
Let me
those
pull
were
it
just
up.
games. Those were just games. Would you like to be in a real
War.
Yeah.
I love that scene. They ripped it straight from the
Straight
book.
from the book.
And it's perfect. Like, so well done. And it's just so understood the way that like war and uprisings happen. And I feel Suzanne was really doing something. Like, she really was doing something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's this realization about Rue and Prim, and that was part of the reason that she finally decided she needed to fight, because everything that happened to them. And I highlighted it. I'm like, this is the point she was trying to make, like, the reality of war and how it affects the children that are directly in the war. Like Rue, she was in it, but Prim had to witness all of it. So they both were endangered and made to suffer so much. So,
Oh my god, that just made me realize something about Mockingjay.
the death, like, oh, then what is it? You got to share.
No, well, Prim's death.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna all result in the same ending for these children. Death. no matter if they're in the games or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel it was always meant to happen. It's terrible, but nothing could have hit her harder. I even agree with Finnick's death now. I used to fight that shit so bad, but I'm like, that's the reality of war, you know? They would have died in such a stupid ass way too, but whatever.
Yeah. Also, Finnick as a book character, so interesting. I mean,
Yes.
obviously, Sam Claflin, great performance, but like because I know they talk about in the Mockingjay movie where he's kind of like talks about how he's paid in secrets, but like I think Katniss says something that like they had to quote unquote wait for a year for him to quote unquote come of age, even though he was like 15. 16 to like essentially like he goes to the Capitol, only he sleeps with like 5 people and then never sees them again or something like that. And I was like,
the pedophilia is so nasty with him, that whole part. And honestly, I feel like Katniss was not even fully recognizing how nasty it was. Like, they're so used to shit like that happening. Because, I mean, he got the biggest sponsorship that ever happened, the most expensive gift. All the other kids weren't getting anything. Like, it was just because he was so pretty. At 14, I'm like, okay, that was a child. And then 16-year-old, still a child, and y'all were ready to throw him to the wolves, like, as a prostitute. That's insane. And he was able to make something out of it to try in his own way rebel, which he didn't really know. I'm sorry I'm blabbing. Oh my god.
no, go on.
He didn't really know if there would ever be anything to happen where those secrets became powerful, you know? So I feel like that was his way to take back power, even if it never became useful. Obviously it did in the rebellion, but just makes you sad. Really sad. But his character, hilarious. Like, despite everything that happens to him, he's just so funny. And I literally love that scene. It sounds terrible. The noose, when he's just making fun of himself and he's like, they actually filmed that. It's a deleted scene. And because he did that, she knew how to make the Seneca Crane noose thing. And I feel like that's such a funny detail. Like, I would have loved that to stay.
Is that like a release deleted scene? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a deleted scene. And I
I've
think
never
it's
seen that.
I think it's in the book where she learns it from where they have a deal where he'll teach her knots or something, and she'll teach him archery. I forget if it's either a trade-off between those two or like Mags and her like do something with the ropes.
Well, all of them, that's something I wanted to talk about actually, how the book dives in so much deeper, the bonds that the victors create, and how, I mean, they are friendly with each other. They eat lunches together, and like they end up liking each other, even the career tributes in a way. And they're like, how are we going to kill them? I don't know. Like,
yeah,
it's
that's
just,
what. Yeah, it's like I think it's just because there's so much time for these characters to kind of get to know their relationships. Like, even if Katniss and Peeta, because Haymitch does say like you guys are at a disadvantage, these people have known each other for years. Like, they still have a like good making relationships with other people, and they do like end up friendships. I think it was before their training, or no, not their training. What's the private training thing where they show off their talent, and Katniss is like turns to Peeta and is like, how are we gonna kill these people? Like, she's just like she's like, I like, how? She doesn't even want to be allies with a lot of people because she'll know how that will end.
Yeah, it's like that'd make it so much harder, but then you would live longer. But the way she contemplates killing Finnick so many times. It's so funny, which I get it. Like he's a strange guy, and I mean he's so charming and manipulative, so I wouldn't trust him either, but I don't know. If Haymitch hadn't done that, I think that bitch would have been dead.
She would have been dead. And I think Haymitch actually says that at the end of the book. He's like if you knew about this, you would probably be dead. Like if all of these people did not like do good at this plan, you would be dead.
I feel like Peeta could have known about it, but she might have sensed from him that something was off.
And I feel like he would still tell her. I think the difference between the Hunger Games book and Catching Fire is like Peeta's like own mind games in the Hunger Games. I feel like he knew that he was felt like he was kind of on his own, but then obviously after those games he's like, me and Katniss are in it for the long run together, so but and also Plutarch Heavensby, icon. What a legend.
Yeah. I'd love to learn more about him, because I mean that's a scary thing to do, to be in the rebellion as the game maker. I feel like the movie makes it even more interesting because we see their conversations. That's something we never really get in the books. So I appreciate those moments. But
movie too with Seneca Crane, because we don't even know that he exists until he like dies.
Yeah. So it does add that layer, which it's so rare that we can say that something in a movie was better, but I mean, how would we have had that in the book without it being weird? So, film. Oh, there was a line that got me thinking, because I talked about it in the last live show. Like, how did the conversation between Peeta and the careers go when he was trying to get on their side? Well, there's a line talking about how usually the careers go in already knowing who they're allied with. Did he have that conversation before the games or within the games? We'll probably never know, but does that not bother you? Like, that bothers me. Like, was he so calculated that he already had that plan set in place, which honestly makes him that much more crazy, because he was really trying to keep Katniss alive, like that intensely, that he went in there.
Do you think, this is just me spitballing here, do you think that he like allied with the careers around the same time that he wanted to like train privately, like separately from Katniss?
That would have to be it.
I feel like that's it, because he has to kind of distance himself from Katniss.
I'm thinking maybe that, like, and like, did he go to the careers? Did the careers go to him?
Well,
did they say that?
I don't know, because
I'm assuming they would go to him.
That's what I was thinking, because they would reach, because like kind of like the way that they did it with Thresh, and Thresh was like no. But I might be mixing both the movie and the book together. But I do know that he does. Does he throw the ball and it hits the thing to show that he's strong?
I think
in the
so.
book.
I think so.
I can't remember.
Okay, because that might be a thing that like kind of like reveals that to the careers. But I also might be thinking of the movie. So,
I mean, I believe that he would be ballsy enough, honestly, to go up to them himself.
I do too. That's why it's like,
but I don't know.
I'd love to see that. But I feel like that does kind of prove that this was planned all along, when it kind of didn't feel like that initially. Like, he just came up with it on the fly. I would love to interview this woman.
Like, okay, everyone, this is how we get Peyton in a room with Suzanne Collins. So
that one is never going to be caught on an interview again. Like, where is she? You know,
we just need to find her address. It's fine.
We'll find her. Just show up with a microphone. I think
it's like shit. I was thinking if there was like a non-horror film where someone like goes, it's like I hate to say this. I can't believe I'm making a Fault in Our Stars reference in 2025. But when they go visit the author just to like talk to him, that's what we're gonna do with Peyton.
Oh my god. I think she lives. Where the heck she live? I'll pull it up. Connecticut. I don't even know where Connecticut is. If she's still there. According to this. I'm not
Connecticut.
good with geography.
Connecticut is below New Hampshire.
Where's that?
Okay. It would be so funny if we refer to where the states are based on the districts, and then Peyton knows where that state is based on the district.
Isn't it like New Jersey? Like Connecticut, like am I showing my stupid now?
No. Well,
Because
no,
I'm
no,
thinking
no.
like the Carrie Diaries, like Sex and the City. Isn't she from Connecticut? And then like
New Jersey and Connecticut are very close with each other.
okay, because I'm pretty sure in the Carrie Diaries she's from Connecticut, and then she travels by train to New York.
Yeah, there's like yeah, like some people that live in Connecticut commute to New York because it's kind of like opposite end of it. I can't believe I'm looking up the United States map too. I want to make sure I'm right.
No, I think you're right. Based off of this map. I forget about Connecticut. Like, have not thought of Connecticut. Probably.
That's okay.
Isn't that also where all of like Morgan Matson's books take place?
If it is, that's crazy. Because I literally don't think about Connecticut. Like, who lives there other than Suzanne?
I think of Connecticut just because I love saying it. Connecticut. Like, it's just fun. It's a fun place to say.
Another place I don't think of, North Dakota, South Dakota. Who lives there? Like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Well,
Imagine if
Oh!
me.
Morgan Matson, some of her books are in the Poconos Mountains.
Poconos Mountains.
That's in like Pennsylvania and Delaware, so kind of near Connecticut.
I swear to God, she says Connecticut.
I'm sure she does. I mean, you know more than I probably do.
I haven't read her
Because
books.
I don't. Exactly. Like, I read her books, but a long time ago.
Yeah.
Districts, Hunger Games, map. Okay, so
I live in
Peyton.
District 12,
What? Yes, you do.
which I think is great.
Wait,
So,
what?
Where I live is where District 12 is.
Oh.
Yeah,
I-
so I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I live in District 12, and then I will be moving to District 13, and then
Nuclear development.
and then it looks like Brittany is in the wilds. That's what, according to this map.
That's crazy.
What I want to know, like, what is going on with the rest of the world? Where are we? You know? Because America, like, we know, like, all the countries know about each other. But in this world, like, we're so in the future. Like, what happened to y'all? Where is the rest of the world?
That's true.
There's just
Not
no-
being as stupid, surely. I would hope.
Probably. But I do know, like, Plutarch in Mockingjay talks about, I mean, he knows a lot of history. And they're basing off their current rebellion off of how things happened in the past. So I'm like, and he had power. So did he have access to anything about modern continents, countries? Like, what's going on, guys? Is the world exploded?
So
Is it North America or just America? The Hunger Games.
it looks like it's North America only.
Yeah.
But you said I was in the wild? I was in...
Yeah, the wilds. That,
US
according to this
is
map.
in-
I don't understand.
Which I can imagine America getting this dark and twisted. Like, look at the world at this state, you know? Like, America is Panem.
I like how I'm looking at a map as if I understand anything about maps.
Yeah, it's at least according to the internet, a lot of the other countries were destroyed by climate change and nuclear war, leaving Panem or like North America to become Panem.
That's literally what I was going to say. Like, because I work for an environmental nonprofit that fights against climate change, so like that shit's in my head, and I'm like, that makes sense. Like we make the world so terrible, like the rest of the world just died. Whew. Some crazy ass shit.
Yeah, it says some districts are located in areas that were once part of Canada, including my province. Oh, okay. The area where Canada once was is now called the Wilds, but like, does that mean I'm not an actual? I'm so confused.
Well, you can imagine that Lucy Gray lives there, because I believe in my heart she's alive in the wild.
Oh, speaking of Lucy Gray, I was really excited when Katniss talks about how she tries to find the first Quarter Quell recording, and Peeta's like, "Oh, I only asked for people that we were fighting or like are still alive," and then Peeta's like, "That person's not alive, and also no one remembers what happened during those games or something." And I was like,
I did look up an interview from Suzanne talking about like what she knew about Lucy Gray when she was originally writing it. She says she always knew that the first winner brought the idea of performance into the Hunger Games, but she didn't really have the character fully fleshed out. But that's what she knew about them. I'm like, that's so interesting. Like, she really, and that's why I'm haunted by things like Haymitch and his fear of the dark. And he said when he was like, what is the word when you drink alcohol and then you like don't have it anymore? What is it?
He's in recovery. Relapse. Yeah, relapse is the correct.
So when he was like not having his alcohol, he was seeing things that no one else could see. Like, what are these things that he's seeing? I just feel like it's gonna come around. I have something else to say. Oh, God. There was specific mention that Macy Donner had a songbird, a canary, how do you say that?
A canary.
Canary?
A canary. No.
So a canary. So when Macy died, Katniss's mom got the songbird. And then later on with Wyrus, they were talking about canaries, whatever. And how canaries.
It's a canary, honey. It's
Canary. Okay. Canaries, they were used in the District 12 as like a warning bird in the mines. They would sing, and then when they stopped, that's when you were going to die. Like that was a sign that you were going to die. And then Wyra stopped singing, and she like talked about her as canary. So I find it interesting that Macy Donner had a canary, which was also a songbird, and it was a warning symbol of knowing something. I don't know. I'm like, I just feel like, because people talk about the different birds, and this is so sick. So there's a poem for Haymitch's girlfriend's name.
Oh, is the raven?
Yeah, so people think Haymitch is the raven. Lenore Dove is a dove. I don't know. I don't know, but Macy is the canary, and Katniss is the Mockingjay.
And then
what's going on? I don't know. The birds are so like on purpose.
Oh, 100%.
Knowing that she had that bird, like how is that going to come into play? And knowing it was like a warning bird. I don't know. It just, I took note of it. I don't know what it means. What?
Something's gonna happen where Haymitch, the bird's gonna stop, while Haymitch is in the room or someone else and that person's gonna die or something.
We got to literally pay attention to it because I just feel like that means something that she
Yeah,
had.
it has to.
It's so strange to me.
Yeah, because I know I've seen the people parallel the Raven, which is the Edgar Allan Poe poem, and then also since Lenore is also named that, the Raven is just essentially death and just following. So like, so Haymitch is just like, I'm the Raven because everyone around me dies.
And it's chilling because that poem, like, he talked about Lenore being his lost lover, like Lenore died. So she makes me so sick with how she like gets literary references that connect. She did that with Lucy Gray, and I don't know, she's just so smart. Like, she makes me feel stupid. Like, with my writing, I wish I could be that smart. I don't know. I can't. Okay. I have a claim to make, which I think we're all going to agree about.
Okay.
This is the book that Katniss falls in love. Like, she really falls in love with Peeta.
Absolutely.
Oh, 100%.
I have so many comments where I'm like, this bitch is in love, and she just
She's
has
so-
no idea. She goes on and on about his eyelashes. Or not.
I was going to say that. Like, that, you don't do that unless you're in love.
Right?
His eyelashes fascinate me. Like, she clearly thinks he's pretty. So,
And like, it's even like, I think it's a thing where like she's in love, she just doesn't again like have like the capacity to like take notice of those feelings completely or be completely aware of them. But like, even in Mockingjay, Finnick's like, I knew that you were like, I believed it and knew that you were in love when like the way you freaked out over him like dying. Like, I didn't believe it until that moment. So
I know.
her actions, I think, speak louder than her own thoughts sometimes, and also like what she says. Like, it's the way that she reacts to Peeta that like really is like, obviously she loves him and not Gale. Like, she's like, oh, maybe I'd end up with Gale, but that's just like more out of like, you know, because they were in a district that didn't have many people. He was like close to her, like in proximity. Like, it would just like make sense. Like, she loves Peeta. So.
I know. It was like an expectation that she'd be with Gale. Even Peeta thought she was going to be with Gale.
Yeah,
And
she
it's
never
like-
seemed like excited about it. She's like, oh, maybe one day I'd end up with him. Like, I'd probably end up with him, or like whatever the fuck she says. But she's never like enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
No, like, I don't know. I think it's
all like fluttery around Peeta.
literally the rooftop scene before the games. So sweet.
Yeah.
And they were just like, I wish we could freeze this moment and we could have this all the time. I'm like, y'all deserve that. Y'all deserve that.
Sorry, guys. That's foreshadowing towards the end of Mockingjay.
Don't do this to me. Oh my god. When they're just like, I just think of the movie when they're sitting and watching the rain together, and like when they're in the bed, and I don't know what this is for, but I feel you.
I think it's the parallel between the Meadow rooftop and the ending of the series.
Yeah.
Because they end up in a meadow.
So, like, it's the way that like they sleep together all the time as well.
Yeah.
And
also,
nothing
like,
gets me more than like characters just like wanting to like be held by the other person, like be around the other person for comfort. Like, oh
yeah, it's like, because what Katniss says something where she wants to like stay, like wants Peeta to like lay with her, but she's like, he's all the way over there and he probably doesn't want to do it. And I'm like, Katniss,
oh my god, and
he
when
probably
she's
does.
scared after the fence thing, and Haymitch and Peeta are so smart, they did not miss a beat, you know. But when she like broke her butt and her ankle for like a couple weeks, he carried her upstairs and he'd bring her downstairs, and they were painting the book together. I would have killed for that too. When they were working on her dad's book together, like how sentimental and like beautiful that they did that together. And I'm sure they finished the whole thing with their kids and showed their kids, and
Someone's got to make that book. I would buy the hell out of it. Just like leather, and it's like, aw. And I also, like, now that you're bringing up, I love that scene with Haymitch, Peeta, Prim, her Katniss's mom, and Katniss. I think it's so, like, I'm like, this one whole big conversation just made, like, the one shining light of happiness in this book.
I know.
And they all get along. I'm like, aw, if only it was always like this.
I know. It makes me so sad because, and we keep talking about Mockingjay, but whatever.
So, like, in the first live show, we're like, no spoilers for the other books. And so we're like, Prim's death.
That's not
It
what
makes
Peyton
me
was like
sad.
to say.
Because they kind of all end up in different spots. Like, obviously, Prim's dead, and then Katniss's mom is in a different district, like being a healer, and it's just Katniss, Peeta, and Haymitch, and I don't know. I'm
I
just
think
sad.
I think it is sweet though that those three kind of end up being around each other.
They're bonded for life.
They're bonded for life, and I think the parallels between Katniss and Haymitch add to that too. I
Yeah.
think her knowing that he, like, all of them have lost so many people, but they still have each other. And
Yeah.
oh, and then he's not the Raven anymore because he
Oh my-
hasn't lost them.
And then they have kids, and he's probably like their grandpa, you know? And while he's lonely, like he doesn't have a partner or whatever, but I don't know, I feel like he probably felt complete with having them too, and then the kids, and hopefully they had a very peaceful rest of their lives. Oh god. We gotta stop talking about that. That's for next time.
That's for next time.
That book. It's like in February, and normally like just want to read rom-coms, and I'm like, no, gotta read Mockingjay. Of all books.
I know,
The
because
biggest rom-com.
this book could have been better for the Valentine's Day because she's fallen in love with him. Mockingjay, brutal. Like, he's not even himself anymore. Like,
You could say it's him falling in love with her again.
That's true. That's
I
true.
mean, he may be brainwashed the entire time, but you know, he's falling in love with her. We also
There
get
is
real or not
really
real,
that.
so
Yeah. So good.
so good.
Oh my god. Oh, and we were just talking about how the three of them love each other so much when they have to say goodbye before going into the games and they're just staring at each other. I'm like, oh, like, how do you do that? And he said it would have been unbearable if he was in there or on the outside. Because, like, these are all people he cares about.
It was a lose-lose for everyone. Like,
Yeah.
there's no
'cause
happy
When
situation.
did he know about District 13? You know, when did that come about? Because he acted like he didn't know nothing about it when
Yeah.
she asked him about it.
Oh yeah, he like says that's kind of like he's like, oh, that's kind of a stupid theory, and then he's like, psych.
I know. I'm like, when? We'll probably never know. But
Well, they say that the plan came about when the victors announced, when it was the quarter quell was announced about.
Yeah.
So I think because that conversation happens before the quarter quell, correct? Like before the announcement of it.
I think so.
Yeah. So I think he probably either was totally just being Haymitch, and he's like, that's stupid, Katniss, you dumb bitch. Or he's just like, she doesn't know. This is why we come up with the plans and you don't, Katniss.
I wonder if it was like Plutarch that somehow was able to talk to everyone because, I mean, those phones that they have, I mean, they listen to them. They're home. They listen to them. Like, how do you go about orchestrating something like that when you're being watched like every second of your life? It's just so creepy. I just thought of something. There was a part in District 11 for the Victory Tour where they did need to go speak and not be listened to. And Haymitch, she took note how he's only ever been there once, but he knew exactly where to go in the Justice Building. I'm like,
Maybe
this
that's it.
how does he know about this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's friends with people from District 11, so I'm like,
And then also, like, in addition, Plutarch probably can go there unnoticed. Like, if
yeah,
he just hides under a hood, or like maybe
yeah.
he's originally from District 11 or something, or I don't know, because we don't know how he came about.
I know. I wonder if we'll hear about him at all. Because how old is he?
He's like probably around Haymitch's age.
So we might not hear
Possibly.
about him. He might be too young. Too young to be a rebel.
Let me see. Plutarch Heaven's Fleet. Why did I put? Oh, I put in the actor's name. Okay. I put in Phil Hunger Games. I just didn't know how to spell the character name. Plutarch. You know who should play him in the movie if we do get a young Plutarch Heavensby? The actor's son should play young Plutarch Heavensby.
What does he look like? I'll look into it.
The actor's son.
Mm-hmm.
He looks kind of a lot like his father.
I wonder who's gonna play Snow.
Yeah,
I really want it to be Donald Sutherland's son.
I do
want it
too.
to be him
That would
so
be
badly.
Yeah.
Like, that's one way to honor your father's legacy. Play one of his most iconic roles. And also because Donald Sutherland was so passionate about the Hunger Games, I feel like.
Yes.
But did you guys hear what Tom Blythe said?
Mhm.
He texted Francis Lawrence and said, "Guys, prosthetics. I can look 60.
I mean, he's not wrong,
I know. Like, they've done so much.
right? Like, it's been done on shows before where like This Is Us. They made Mandy Moore look old, and it looked completely real.
Yeah.
It could be done. Plus, I
I
just
mean,
love
Peeta
Tom
looked
Blythe.
like skinny as frick in the Mockingjay movies. So they can do anything. Movie magic.
Mhm.
Oh no, de-aged Donald Sutherland. Oh, that makes it even worse if he was, because now he's dead. Because he can't say anything about it. I'm trying to figure out what is this guy? Oh, well, I do like that he was already established as the judge who falls into the punch bowl and Katniss shoots the apple. That's how she recognizes him, and
That's like hilarious.
that's so funny.
And that
He's
connection's not there in the movie either.
Yeah, because he wasn't even cast. Like, we didn't even know what we were doing with him yet in the movie.
Although I wonder if there is a character that falls into the punch bowl.
I don't think so.
No,
We just
that would
really
be funny.
see the reaction from Beard Guy, Seneca Crane, and then they look at her and she goes, "Thank you for your consideration,"
Yeah.
and leaves. Come on, there has to be something about him. Weapon, propaganda. Thank you, Hunger Games Wiki. He's a native of the capital. Okay. Oh, okay. Susan Collins revealed that he had been plotting as an underground rebel at least since Finnick O'Dare's games. In that same interview, she stated that Plutarch had decided the games were no longer necessary and set about ending them. Liking the challenge of revolution, he was further motivated to end Snow's presidency due to fearing the president's willingness to kill colleagues like Seneca Crane.
So that's 10 years.
Yeah.
Because Finnick was 10 years ago. Interesting.
Interesting.
And then Annie was 5 years ago. I want to know about the District 4 tributes. Mags was Finnick's mentor, and then he had to lose her like that. So sad. And then Mags volunteers for Annie. They always call Annie crazy. I'm like, how crazy is she? You know,
like y'all, you all have gone through the same thing. Like, no wonder she's like, because what was it? She's the one with the natural disaster, also, where I think it's the flood where like all of the tributes like drown and she luckily survived.
The best swimmer, which I think is cool because most people don't have the opportunity to learn to swim. And if Katniss didn't have the lake with her dad, she wouldn't have known how to do that. And why are they trying to help Finnick both times? Because Finnick's arena was water, and then he's back again, water. Like, clearly, that rigged for him.
Well, because if we're going off of that information, Plutarch was probably like, we need Finnick to survive because he needs to help these guys. And so let's make it water-based. They'll never know. But that also would be interesting because maybe what if the plan of the revolution kind of happened between Plutarch and Finnick over the years? Because, like, if Finnick goes to the capital, I mean, obviously I'm not saying that Plutarch Heavensby, like, used him or anything in a sexual manner. I'm just saying they probably have interacted before, and somehow that's how they all got on the same page.
Well, knowing that he was after the secrets, he seemed like he was in some sort of underground, like, information spreading situation. So I feel, and then Joanna knew a lot about Finnick and they were friendly. So I feel people knew about him and they kind of just dealt with his charming, stupid shit that he was doing to entertain the Capitol. But
yeah, sugar cubes.
It was perfect. He did that so well. Hilarious guy.
You want a sugar cube, Katniss? It's for the horses, but
literally ripped it right from the book, and he did it so well. I just remember being in the theater, like, terrified that this was not going to be good. It was perfect.
It was so good.
Sam Claflin was so good.
I would watch him in anything. Like, love Rosie. Beautiful.
Oh my God, I need to watch that.
You haven't seen Love Rosie?
No, but I know what it is. I remember watching the trailer constantly as a kid because it had Lily Collins and Sam Claflin in it.
Please watch it.
Good. I recently watched, and I didn't know what that movie was going to do to me. What's that movie? Me Before You. I watched that. Literally, that ending was so offensive. I don't want to spoil anybody, but I don't support the way like it had such a bad message for the disabled community.
Yeah, it's got a lot of issues.
But once again, I love him. Like, I watched it with my mom, and I thought this was going to be like a cute little romance. Little did we know we were sobbing and then just so angry because that was just such a terrible ending.
Yeah, I have the book too, and I read it in a sitting, and it just fucking destroyed me.
Yeah, me too.
I have the book. I think I'm gonna get rid of it. I don't think I need to go through that again.
No, I do think it was better than the movie, if I remember correctly, or maybe they were very similar. I can't remember, but I feel like you don't need to. The time has passed where that's a necessity. But yeah,
but he's always he does, like Daisy Jones and the Six. Like, he's just fantastic.
So
Yeah,
good.
he's in a. I haven't read this, but this is my partner's like favorite book is The Count of Monte Cristo, and there's a mini series with him in it, and I'm kind of like, so this is how I can watch more Sam Claflin content.
What else is he in?
I know, like I want to look at.
He's in a Pirates of the Caribbean movie where he falls in love with a mermaid, and that's all I know. Because the only thing I've watched of it is clips of him falling in love with a mermaid.
Literally, I just remember it got announced, and I saw the picture of him in that movie. I was like, "That's not finna go there." I'm so sorry. I take it back. He did it well.
He's in Enola Holmes?
Yes,
Oh
he
yeah,
is.
he
He's the annoying
plays.
brother.
I don't remember that.
I never seen him.
They made
And
him
Snow-
ugly with a mustache, so it's kind of scary.
He's in Snow White and the Huntsman too.
I think was he the huntsman or no?
No, that's. I thought that was Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, it was Chris Hemsworth.
There's a movie that he's in called Book of Love, and the description
I think
sparks fly between an uptight English writer and a Spanish translator who rewrote his failed book into an erotic novel.
I started watching it and I was really enjoying it because
I think I
thought
remember
that
seeing this because I think I almost watched it. I should watch that. I love anything about writers.
Yeah.
I just found something that he was in that also had Donald Sutherland in it that wasn't Hunger Games.
Yeah, I saw the same thing, and then also Eddie Redmayne's in it.
I see.
The guy who plays Mr. Darcy in the 2005 Pride and Prejudice adaptation's in it. There's other people.
Damn. I need him to be in more rom-coms.
I know, he's really good.
I just think that people need to do rom-coms more.
Oh, 100%.
Dylan O'Brien, Logan Lerman, where are you at?
Well, luckily Logan Lerman, I think, is in a rom-com. I think it's a rom-com that premiered at Sundance that's getting good reviews with Molly Gordon from The Bear. And then Dylan O'Brien supposedly was asked during an interview about him possibly playing an Emily Henry character.
He needs to play Gus and Beach Read. I need that more than I need it.
Yeah, that would be real good.
I am so excited for People We Meet on Vacation. Tom Blythe.
Mm-hmm.
I started listening to it.
I love him. Sorry.
No, you're good. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I don't know what either of you said. So
Peyton, go. You've actually read the book.
It's my least favorite book of hers, but I really love him.
See, I also thought it was my least favorite. It still might be just by default, but like I reread it last year and I'm like, this is better than I remember it being. Like I remember the first time I read it, it took me a bit to get into it, but upon a reread, because I'd already read it and like I knew that I liked it, I found myself enjoying the beginning part a bit more. Like it had me like kicking my feet and giggling. Like that book was good.
Give it another shot because it's not that I didn't like it. It's just I read it right after a beach read, and I'm like, beach read is so good. So
I read them as they came out. So, but I also reread Book Lovers, and not gonna lie, I liked that one a little bit less upon a reread. I don't know what it was about it.
My God, I think that one was.
I don't know what happened there.
I don't know which one's my favorite because Happy Place destroyed me. Like
Right.
that one was so crazy, like in connection to what was happening in my life at the time. Yeah. So I don't know if it'll ever hit like exactly the same because it's like she read my life story. I was like, oh my God, girl. But it was just a good book in general. So
yeah, I need to start reading her books because I feel like I would enjoy them.
They're good. They have depth.
Yeah, I started listening to the audiobook of People We Meet on Vacation and I was liking it, but then I stopped because I had already too many audiobooks. So
I think Beach Read is my favorite, and I think it'll always be my favorite. But like Happy Place and Funny Story are tied for me. Like I don't know which one's my favorite there.
Funny Story was not my favorite.
I love that.
I don't know why. The concept is so good because they're like roommates. So I don't know what my problem is. I gotta reread that shit.
That's so good. I'm so
excited. Funny Story is about roommates.
It's about
were engaged and
Yeah.
they both got broken up with, so they started living together because they, money.
Yeah.
So
Like their exes get together because they were like childhood best friends.
it was
Okay.
insane.
I just got the audiobook of Funny Story. So
She's a librarian, and did he work at like a bar or something?
It was like a winery.
Winery.
Ooh,
Yeah. And he's
that's a
fun.
gamer. That's the one that people want Dylan O'Brien to play.
I thought that was Beach Read.
I think
No, that was
I don't
Logan
know.
Lerman. That was Logan Lerman, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people want.
Logan Lerman is Gus.
I feel like we would accept either of those two dudes in any of those books as a movie.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
it'd be so good.
They've
It's so off
confirmed.
topic.
So off topic, but it's still books.
It was
Oh.
it started out related because I mentioned people we meet on vacation because it's got Tom Blythe in it. So I got us off track, but it started somewhat on the track.
Before we get back on track, which ones have already had confirmed films? I know
I
they
think
already
all of them.
filmed
all
all
of
of
them?
them.
I think they've all been at least optioned.
I think
I
so.
think there's a script for Beach Read, if I'm not mistaken. But the only one that's currently actually like being filmed is People We Meet on
People we
Vacation.
meet on vacation.
Didn't
is
Jennifer
wild.
Lopez pick one of them up or something? I thought that was
Mhm, that's the one I'm thinking about. Let me.
That
see
wouldn't
what-
surprise me. She's like a producer for things.
I didn't know that. So when I saw that, I got scared.
She
I
was
was
a
like, what is
producer. She was a producer on The Fosters and Good Trouble.
Okay. We'll just need drama.
Ooh, yeah. It was announced that Yulin Kwan would adapt and direct the film adaptation of Beach Read, but that was back in April of 2023. Jennifer Lopez optioned Happy Place. And then Funny Story would be that Emily Henry would write the script for it.
Right. Okay. I think I saw that she wrote the script. I think it was in her newsletter.
Well, this is exciting because I feel like we don't get a lot of rom-coms anymore, like movies. So the fact that they're all showing up, like, yay. And after the
Yay.
Colin Hoover movie, like the crazy legal battle that's going on, like, damn.
That was going to be a
Let's
miserable start.
It was like they shouldn't have created it to
Did you
begin
hear
with.
that she's low-key retiring from writing, or at least taking like a break from
I
writing?
saw that. I didn't know if it was real. I saw someone tweet about it today, and I couldn't find a source.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I didn't look into it.
I just think it's so funny when these like authors come back to popularity, and I was like, is this 2020? Is this 2014 booktube again?
I know.
Like, I thought we already went through that Colleen Hoover stuff.
Literally. She just came back, and I never read her back then. I owned like one of the books.
I read one book, I think in like
Which one?
2014, 2015, Maybe Someday, which I don't even think is one of her most problematic books. I think that one's one of the tame ones.
Yeah, compared to November 9th and
Yeah.
It ends with us.
Like I remember Maybe Someday there was a deaf main character or like a deaf character, so I don't know if that was handled correctly. I don't remember. I know that I enjoyed the book at the time, but then I never read anything else. Yeah.
But you know who's a good writer? Suzanne Collins.
Yeah.
Segue to bring us back on track.
Honestly, I just want this new book. Like, it's driving me nuts. I want to go to a midnight release party, and what's annoying is the Barnes & Noble near me decided to do one that's like day of at nighttime, and my stupid ass already bought tickets to do something else. There's this author. Oh my god, I have it on the floor. Hold on.
Promotion.
This author, she lives in Virginia and happens to be coming March 18th to a bookstore near me, and I really love this book. This is super fun book about this mom who's an author, and she's talking to her editor at a Panera and talking about a plot in her book about murdering someone, but some other lady overhears it and is like thinking she's a hit woman. So she offers her thousands of dollars to kill her husband. At first she's like, I'm not gonna do that. But then she's like, wait, I'm a single mom who needs money. So
I'm a
there's like
single mom who
5
works 2
books
jobs.
now. And I want to binge all of them because I've only read this one. But I've heard they're all really good, just like the first one. So I bought tickets for that, and then my stupid Barnes & Noble's like, actually, instead of a midnight release party, we're doing a day of party. I'm like, bitch.
Damn.
Like,
I hope that my Indigo does a midnight release party. We just had one for Onyx Storm, and I'm pretty sure I remember one of my managers telling me last year that there were a few midnight release parties happening this year. So I'm
yes, I
hoping.
thought that's a good one. Like, a lot of people would show up for.
But I don't know if I would like rather want to work it or if I'd want to like attend as like a person. Like if I work it, I don't have to like pay to enter the event, I guess. I probably want to work it, but then how would I get home? I don't know, but that's a problem for later me.
That's a problem for later you.
Speaking of work though, I was at work the other day, and like speaking of like mystery type books, like the Finley Donald, whatever that one is. I saw this book at work the other day. It was like facing out on the shelf. It's called How to Solve Your Own Murder.
Oh, I think I've seen that. Like,
Right.
that's a good title. Like, I want to know what that's about.
Okay, I read the description. It's basically about this main character who I think goes to a psychic and tells her that she's going to be murdered one day. And so she makes it like her mission to like study the people around her to like find suspects for who could murder her in the future. And she's like completely obsessed with it. And then 60 years later, she gets murdered. And I think it's like her niece or somebody who like takes all of her like notes to try to figure out who killed her.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the new Holly Jackson book that's going to be adult. I think
that's a new one coming out this year.
I don't know if it's coming out this year or not.
I hope she has a book coming out this year.
But the book is like someone tried to kill her or whatever, and she got like a super bad brain injury that is going to kill her. Like, she's going to die, if I'm getting this right. And she's trying to figure out who the heck did that to her. So she's trying to solve her own murder while she's actively dying.
That's crazy.
I know. So that kind of sounds a little bit similar, but
I want to get into mystery books. I'm into like YA ones, but I want to get into like.
Dude, I got some for you.
Thank you. Okay, I want to read that one. Maybe I'll see if there's an audiobook for it.
This is a really good audiobook. I read it for the first time through audio, and I loved it so much I bought the book. Like, it was just the main character, one being an author is always fun, but she's just so ridiculous, and her babysitter gets in on this too, and it's just her and her babysitter, literally the craziest antics. But low-key, they solving crimes because like the husband that she wants to murder, she doesn't just want to murder him for no reason. Like, he's a bad guy. So
okay, I just put a hold on How to Solve Your Own Murder. I'm 53rd in line, so that's fun.
not the 53rd.
I know. Okay,
That sucks.
Guys, I just
oh my God, I can just
out
borrow Finley Donovan right now. It's available.
What did you find out?
God.
that Books A Million has a deluxe edition of the Hunger Games books, and they're pretty.
Oh shit! What? I don't even know where a Books A Million is, but I saw that they came out with the merch for the new book, and I really want to buy the bookmarks at least because they're super cool. But Books A Million,
I don't have Books A Million.
literally, I have not seen one in ages. Like, I don't even know where that.
There's one in my mall. I applied there and they declined me, even though I've worked at a bookstore before.
Not them
They were like-
declining you. So they're exclusive editions.
Yeah, and they have all of them, including Ballad, which I was surprised about. And maybe they'll have Sunrise of the Reaping, maybe.
Oh, is it these like paperbacks with the sprayed edges?
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw the box set at work if it's the same thing.
Yeah, like I think deluxe edition, so I think they should be at other places, which is
Okay, this is what I'm asking for my birthday. No one can stop me.
I know. When does the box set come out? Is it already
I
out?
think it's in February. Oh, never mind.
Unless we put it out on the shelf early, but I saw it at work the other day.
Bookstores be doing that. They be putting it out early. Yeah, it says it comes out February 4th, so they put that shit out early.
They probably, it's probably good that the announcement got pushed back, not because of the terrible tragedy, but like because now this comes out like the day after, and I'm sure they could do an announcement for it.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, that plane crash was crazy. Like that was the scariest thing.
Yeah, what was even worse was that I was watching Celebrity Jeopardy with my dad, and that happened like right as we were watching it.
Oh my god. I'm already scared enough of flying.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be a Catching Fire illustrated edition. When does that come out? Let's see. October 7th of this year. So
I've got my Christmas gifts secured.
I know.
I still need to get the first one. I'm upset about it.
Mine is displayed up there. Okay. Where's my finger? There.
I just want to flip through it and just get all the pictures.
Oh, you can go to the store and do that, you know.
I want to
Or
buy
the
it.
library.
I like these new covers, but also I don't.
Yeah,
Which
my
ones?
coworker was angry about them yesterday.
They're
She's
like super bright.
Oh,
It doesn't-
the deluxe edition ones.
yeah, like I was telling my coworker because she was getting really angry about them yesterday, and I was like, they're really pretty. They just don't match the vibe.
Yeah.
That's why I really want like someone to do like a custom dust jacket for the like for the hardcover books, because like people do that all the time for other books. So why haven't you done it for the Hunger Games? I know, I've been trying to find that one.
It's on Juniper Books. They're expensive.
Okay.
I know,
I
but they
think
keep
I'll
coming out with so many like deluxe editions of just random ass books. I'm like, though I guess this is it, but like they're paperbacks. Like, where was our hardcover,
Yeah.
like gold edges with an embedded bookmark moment?
But I do love these dust jackets. They're really nice quality. They're like velvety, like smooth.
Ooh.
The only thing is like it looks better when they're like on the shelf together because like it lines up like what this looks
Yeah.
like. That's how it lines up when they're together. So like the actual individual covers, this is like just for freaking arm. It's not that exciting. So it's like more
Yeah.
exciting for like the spine wise.
Yeah.
It would be really cool if they styled the covers like kind of like if you were gonna open like the Katniss's dad's like plain
Oh.
things. That would be cute. Or like each book had instead of a Mockingjay on it, like one or a Mockingjay and one of the plants would be interesting.
That would be cool. Well, I took off work for March 18th. At midnight, if no one's gonna give me a midnight release party, I'm buying the ebook. So I will read probably really late. And then right when the Barnes & Noble opens at like 8 or whatever, I will be at the store to get my exclusive edition. And then I'll keep on reading. And then I think 7 is this little event. I will be bringing my book with me. Like it's going to be read. Hopefully
I pre-ordered the book, so I will not be getting it right away.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it too.
I just can't do that. Like these
I wasn't
pre-orders-
going to, but then we got a staff appreciation, and I was like, an extra discount? I have to pre-order it because it's expensive. So
Yeah.
No, I might do the thing that Peyton did for Ballad, which was like reserve the audiobook the night of. But it depends on who is reading it. Because if it's like some random ass guy, then why do I care? But if it's Woody Harrelson or an actor I like, then I'll
Yeah.
be okay.
Tom Blythe should have done the audiobook, but I guess
That's
he wasn't cast yet when they made it. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
That's what they need to do. I think they need to do the Summer I Turned Pretty route, and like when the movie comes out, do an audiobook.
Right,
Like
'cause, like,
I think
some
they should.
books. Go ahead.
Oh well, I was just gonna say they should have done that with Ballad with Tom Blythe, like done another edition with him in it. But I guess because the book and the movie came out pretty close with each other, maybe that's why they didn't do it. But
Because some books have multiple different audiobook versions, right? Like The Wizard of Oz has a million. I listened to one narrated by Brooke Shields.
Oh, really?
Very random.
Interesting.
yeah,
From.
my partner, he is going through the Lord of the Rings series, and he's listening to an audiobook with Andy Serkis, who plays Gollum in it. So like, it's like interesting.
I'm listening to The Hobbit for the first time.
Oh, really?
Oh.
I read The Hobbit. That's the only one I've read.
Well, I read it when I was a kid. My teacher read it to us, but I feel like I was not paying attention. So I'm listening to the audiobook. It's not my favorite thing ever, but I'm trying to find like a new like fantasy thing to like obsess over to fill a certain void in my life.
Yeah.
So,
Lord of the Rings is a good direction for that.
Wait,
I will say.
I have a thing. I am rereading The Poppy War right now. It's so good. So, if you need something. But I will say, the first time I read it, I didn't fully understand what we were doing here. Now I understand what we're doing here. Because, I mean, you can't go into it thinking that we're going to get a romance or something. Like, because you'll read it and you'll see that there's some inklings there and it's kind of confusing. Really, this is a story about this woman beating her ass to like be the most powerful girl ever. And that might mean being on opposite sides of the war of people that she may have cared about, you know? So it's really good. That lady wrote that book at like 19 and got it published at like 22. And I can't tell you how stupid I feel reading it because, I mean, she's like deep in history and mythology and she wrote something like so good. And I'm like, dear Lord, I don't know how to be that talented. Like it blows my mind. She was writing that in college. Like I just don't get it, but sorry.
No, you're good.
That's a good fantasy series. But I want to read Lord of the Rings. I bought the box set. I just feel like they're really slow. Is the
Yeah,
thing. Prepared
but
for
I think a lot of it is like kind of similar to Hunger Games, where it's a lot of well, the guy does explain a lot of different things that like last for like 2 pages, but I think it adds to the world and also kind of like similar to Hunger Games, like the world building is really good. But then again, I haven't read it. But I think but like love the movies, at least the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I do not like the Hobbit movies, but
yeah, I have a feeling
sleep in the Hobbit movies.
I might enjoy Lord of the Rings more than The Hobbit because, like, right now I'm like almost halfway through the book and I'm like, what are we doing? Like, I can't really remember what their journey is. I think it has something to do with a dragon. I don't really know.
Yeah, the dragon.
They're just like, I don't know what's happening here. I just kind of listen to it so often, but I'm like,
they're just walking.
Yeah.
They're walking forever.
And like people are carrying Bilbo around. And I'm like, what are we doing here? What's happening? Like they forgot about Bilbo. I'm like, what's going on?
yeah, that's kind of.
And Gandalf is like, I'm gonna leave you now. You can do the rest of this by yourself. And I'm like, and they're like all freaking out. And he's like, I don't have to leave right now. I can stay a couple more days. And I'm like, what are you talking about, sir?
Yeah.
Like, it's
We
weird.
gotta read the trilogy.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings is great because
I mean,
the relationships between characters.
I tried to watch the first Lord of the Rings and I almost fell asleep.
No, I did too. You gotta watch it with people.
I
was.
I
Okay.
was watching with my
dad. I don't watch them either. My dad loves them, so I've like seen bits and pieces, but I've never just fully sat down and done it. I feel like I would love it. I love fantasy. So
Yeah.
Yeah, my friends and I, we did it like one every night. So like we would watch the first one and then the next one and it just worked. So, Waka waka.
Barnes and Noble's got a whole giveaway for Sunrise on the Reaping. You get
Wow.
Yeah, if you pre-order Sunrise on the Reaping, you get a chance to win a $200 Barnes & Noble gift card, the Hunger Games Deluxe Edition box set, and then Hunger Games merch, which is like a big bag, a water bottle, a notebook, a Mockingjay pen, and a Hunger Games hat.
That's crazy.
I know, and I do win things, so it got me tempted, but
It's got me tempted too, but I already pre-ordered it because I had an Amazon gift card for Christmas. So it's like
yeah, I know that Barnes & Noble pre-orders, they never show up on time. So that's why it's showing up day of.
It's funny because I pre-ordered a bunch of books, right? And one came out on Tuesday. It was Marissa Meyer's writing book. And then I pre-ordered another book that comes out in February, and Marissa Meyer's has not shipped yet, but the one that comes out in February has shipped. And I'm like, what are we doing?
What are we doing here, guys? What are we doing?
Like, it's okay. I'm not like in a huge rush to get the Marissa Meyer one. I just knew that I was going to buy it anyways. I was like, might as well do it now. But yeah, where is it? I want it.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I pre-ordered House of Hades from Barnes and Noble.
Oh my God.
And I was the only kid in school that didn't have it. So I got really mad. And I've never pre-ordered from them again, except if I was like when I was working there.
Yeah, it's really upsetting when it's super anticipated and you already spent your money. So you don't want to buy it again. But and then the stupid bitches at school are reading it. I got spoiled for freaking Allegiant.
At the bus? No, I was scrolling through Instagram and someone spoiled it to me in an Instagram cap.
Oh my God. Wait, someone spoiled Catching Fire for me as well. Because they just needed to talk about it. And they were like, you're never going to read it. So I'm going to tell you this. I'm like, this was before I had ever read them. And they were currently reading them. It was 5th grade. So I got into it at 6th grade. And I mean, she was obviously flabbergasted because she was reading it for the first time and the Reaping just got announced or whatever. She needed to tell someone about it. I was like, like I might read it though. Like, don't spoil me. So I knew that there was going to be another Hunger Games where she was in it. And I wish I did not know that. That would have been such a surprise. I would have loved to just live that moment in the book, but whatever. Spoilers ruin lives.
I don't think I've ever been spoiled for like a big book that I was excited about.
That's crazy.
I did spoil Fault in Our Stars to a girl in like middle school.
That's terrible. That's brutal.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. I was a bad kid. Okay.
I just remember I said in a YouTube video that I hadn't finished whatever Cassandra Clare book that had apparently a huge death in it. So I was like, please, no one spoil me. And someone went and commented, blank died. And I was like, what? And they weren't lying.
Was that Lord of Shadows?
Yes. I'm still pissed about it because once again, when you know something like that, it just takes so much of the power of that moment away. So,
see, that one was just ruined for me because everyone was talking about somebody dying and like hyping it up and being like, "Oh my God, I sobbed!" And then like I thought this other character was gonna die when we got like to that part of the book. Yeah, and so like I got really scared, but then like things were fine and this other character died, so I was honestly just a little relieved. that Magnus did
Which
die.
is terrible because the person who did die
I
did
know.
not deserve that at all. But
I didn't feel the full capacity of it and like the full repercussions of it until Queen of Air and Darkness. And then I was like, oh no, this shit's sad. But I was just so in the moment, like you cannot kill this character off. And then I was like, okay, this is fine.
I'd
So
love to reread those because off the high of Will Herondale, like nothing could ever compare to me type shit. Like no love interest was gonna matter. So I never really cared about Julian.
Oh my god, I love him, little
I
cute.
wish I cared about him because he has the bones. Like he cares so much about his family. He's like an angry kid. Like he's so mad at the world. And I feel like I could relate to that a little bit now. So
Yeah.
maybe I should. I bought all of them one day for like $3 on ebooks. So I got them loaded and ready to go. So with some fat books.
They good.
So we super off topic, but honestly, I think we covered like everything.
I think we covered everything.
Everything important. We just ready for the new one. I think the only thing I would say is I feel like there's a relationship between Haymitch and Katniss's mother that we don't know about because they seem to know each other a little bit, and he mentions her history of helping the wounded people that got whipped, and she's like, is it getting bad like last time or whatever? And I'm like, what was going on last time? I just shook you to your core right there. But it's just like a reference, like after his games were people getting whipped a lot too, you know? So.
And then did she try to save one of his family members?
Oh dear Lord.
Or would she have been too young?
Well, she was the child of the apothecary people. So she was healing people.
She might
Katniss's age.
She also could have been like if she was younger, she could be like Prim, where she was like helping. Yeah. Dear Lord.
I think they had to have had some sort of connection because it seems like everyone in District 12 is like they know of each other at least, or like, you know, like it's not very big. So I think they definitely, there's something.
Like Katniss's dad, like Haymitch could have been friends with him because they're both from the seam. Like they probably did know each other. So I think we're going to, because I already know people are going to call it fan service, but I mean, why would we not get mentions of these characters when it's a small town?
Yeah.
They're in the seam, and Katniss's mother was friends with Macely, so.
And that was already set up.
Yeah, like that was always there, so it just doesn't make sense to not address it.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm excited to read Mockingjay too, because I remember when I read it in 3 days when I was like a kid. So we're gonna see if I still like it, and I can.
Is it your second time reading it ever?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Catching Fire, I think I've read Hunger Games the most times, and I think this was my second time reading Catching Fire.
Well, that's cool. So it's like really gonna be feeling new.
Yeah, and I really want to get a used copy of Mockingjay, or at least some of the books, so I can like annotate, because my hardcovers are packed away.
Dang.
So, I know.
Yeah, interacting with the words. I don't know, you notice a lot more.
No, and that's what sucks, because I really want to annotate a copy, and I thought if I used my paperbacks, but the only paperback I have is the Hunger Games one, and at that point I was like, oh, we're on Catching Fire now, so what's the point?
I just thought of something awful that I must, because I mentioned the whipping. There was that line, and this is something that you could so easily miss. That's why I thought of it. Peeta knew the sound of whipping, and she could tell, like, he reacted and he knew that someone was getting whipped just from his face, and she didn't recognize it because she wasn't whipped and beat up as a kid. I know, isn't that so haunting? I just highlighted that line, like not him being like traumatized and knows exactly what that's like, but he don't talk about it. He don't complain, and it's just like, sir, you've been through so much.
Are you gonna do this every live show? Or you just say some fucked up shit?
Let me see if I got the page. I literally probably wrote it down.
I think she does hear him get whipped in the first one. I think she hears a belt or something. I might be wrong though.
I feel like I always envisioned it as just like getting slapped and punched. I never like put that together.
Well, I think because in the film on camera he does get physically slapped. But in the book I remember I feel like Katniss, but then again Katniss was like dying and she's like, I need food.
I found the page number. Just read that line. Okay. So, a whistling, the sound of an impact, the intake of breath from a crowd. Come on, Peeta says, his face suddenly hard. I don't know why. I can't place the sound, even guess at the situation, but it means something bad to him. I was like, that's so sad, but so intentional. So sorry. We ended on a terrible note.
I hate you.
How can we end this on not a terrible note? Which is hard with the Hunger Games series. Because
I mean, yeah, the whole District 12 is bombed. Like, we didn't even discuss just how miserable this book ends, but
Mockingjay will be a happier ending, at least. A lot of fucked up
Yes.
shit throughout, but a happy ending, at least.
yeah. I'm also excited to watch the movies because I don't rewatch those two that much because it's one of those part 1 and part 2s. So
I know. You have to really block out the time because you don't want to watch one without the other.
I usually will watch them like back to back, like on one day, then like watch the next day.
yeah, I might do that.
So there's not like a huge break in between.
Though I think the breaking them into two felt necessary in a way. Other series did that, and I thought it was stupid. But like, I feel like this was able to flesh out the war a bit more. Like, I don't feel like it sucked.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it just like the thing with like cutting a book into 2 parts, I think sometimes, most of the time, part 1 is the setup and then part 2 is the payoff, obviously, because that's how parts work. But also in addition, I think because the Hunger Games movies didn't really set up a lot of the world building compared to the books, I think that's why I also am just like, part 1.
yeah.
But I do like, I don't hate them. I don't think they should get the hate they deserve. I think they're fine, but I think probably because it was coming off of Catching Fire.
Catching Fire so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? Ending part 1 the way that they did.
Crazy. I remember sitting in the theater and watching that and being like,
I mean, it definitely was the way to end it if you're gonna get people interested, because that just goes against everything that we knew.
Like if you had that as just one movie, I feel like that wouldn't have been as like heartbreaking and intense as it was, especially watching it as it was coming out, because then you had to wait a whole year to see the rest of it, and it was like, that's just how we're gonna leave it for a year.
And ending off just in that bed, like twitching, horrifying.
You know what? I think now I think maybe I'm just thinking other people's thoughts are getting into my head rather than me having my own opinions from when it was coming out, because I was a kid like that. But like, for example, like when we have like Wicked part 1 and part 2, like kind of like what you were saying, Brittany, like there has to be a certain point that you have to end it. And I feel like if you're gonna end Mockingjay at a certain point, that's a part to end it at.
You kind of get there pretty quickly in the book, but I'll shut up because that's for next
That's for next time.
time. Excited to read it because I feel like that's the one that I remember the least usually. Though
Me too.
the Ballad I've only ever read once, so that one's
That's
gonna be more
crazy.
shocking. I know. I can't wait to refresh myself on that because I
I've
forgot
read
a lot.
0 times.
That's crazy. So we get your like true reactions. That's gonna be good.
Yeah. Now I will annotate that book because since
I'm
it's
going to
new
too.
to me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Did you say something, Brittany?
Yeah, so I'm gonna annotate it too.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
epic.
think I'm gonna do that from now on because I reread the first one through the audio, but it's just way more fun to annotate it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the way to go. Okay, should we wrap it up? We about to die. Brittany's yawning.
I'm fading. And it's way later for you guys.
It is it's literally 11. And we got
Yeah,
work
it is.
tomorrow. But it was really fun chatting about probably one of our favorite books. And, you know, it's even better than we remember it. Well, at least for me. I don't know about y'all.
No, I agree. I think it was.
Yeah.
These books always surprise me in the best way possible.
Seriously, they don't get the credit that I feel like they should by most modern people.
Mm-hmm.
But once you reread it, it's like, damn, this actually was as good as we were feeling back in the day. We were kids, but
I feel like a lot of people lump it in with just like, oh, books I loved as a kid, and they just like keep it or like talk about it in like a sentimental way. I'm like, you should reread it because it actually is so relevant and holds up so incredibly well.
it is so relevant. Like
Yeah.
our world is literally in flames at this
I
at
know.
this moment. So it haunts me.
Yeah, but I think I watched a video earlier today where somebody was like talking about books that they read when they were younger or something, and they like lumped the Hunger Games in the same sentence as the Mortal Instruments. And I was like,
No, those do not hold up at all.
no, they're entertaining as hell. But they're stupid.
Yes.
Like the Mortal Instruments itself, like that's the dumbest. The rest are good to me, but there's some of the Mortal Instruments that is so messy, and it's like these are
It's
so
so
bad.
messy in like the best way, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
speaking about humanity, not really, not in the way that we got with this.
Like the Hunger Games actually has like really important things to say. It's not just a kid's story. You know?
But like so many young people are able to connect with it, and that's what makes it so great because it's themes that we do need to understand as we continue to get older. And they are useful as we continue to get older because we're recognizing red flags in our modern societies. So I envy her talent. She's so good. That's a good note to leave it off on. So I guess we'll be back February. Today is January. Oh my god. We're I don't know what day it is. So February around this time we will be talking about Mockingjay. So we will see you then. Goodbye everybody.
Bye.
Bye.